Welcome back to the most unprofessional sports channel on YouTube. Welcome back to Swivel Chair Sports. I'm your host, Zach Circlebar Purple, here with the coach today, Aaron. How's it, hi, Aaron?
Hi.
Alright, in this video, we'll be doing another NFL division prediction. This time, we'll be doing our predictions for the NFC East, including the Philadelphia Eagles, Dallas Cowboys, New York Giants, and Washington Commanders. Trying to determine what team is going to come out on top in the division, what the record for each team in the division is going to be, just by taking a look at each team's schedule.
And if you like this video, be sure to like and subscribe and leave a comment. Let us know what you think.
But without further ado, let's go ahead and look at the first team in the NFC East. All right, so first we have America's team, everybody's favorite, Dallas
Fuck off.
Cowboys. So the Cowboys last year, disappointing end to what was a successful regular season, as is the norm in Cowboys country, where they go into the playoffs as a top 3, at least top 4 seed, with a home playoff game, and they just lose to a team that they shouldn't lose to. Miss out on the NFC Championship game because that's what the Cowboys do. So this year, obviously, looking to turn the tides a bit, kind of spin the narrative, one might say, and try to overcome those playoff demons. And I have them starting off the season pretty well. 4 out of their first 5 games should be winnable. Beating Cleveland, beating New Orleans, losing to a tough Baltimore team, but then picking up 2 more wins on the road to the Giants and Pittsburgh, before dropping their second loss of the year to Detroit, heading into the bye after that. So going to the bye, 4-2, pretty good start. Typical Cowboys start. Get off to a really, really solid beginning of the season. Come out of the bye, you lose 2. Tough game at San Francisco. A lot of teams are playing San Francisco after the bye this year, so that's kind of weird. But, and then I got you losing another tough one at Atlanta. I think this is going to be around the time where Atlanta really starts gelling, meshing. Kirk Cousins starts, gaining momentum, wearing gold chains, gold grills, whatever it may be, to the games at this point in the year. And so I got you losing that one at Atlanta as well. Before picking up a division rival win against Philadelphia at home, and then dropping another tough game to a good Houston Texans team after a tough battle with Philadelphia, I'd imagine. And then losing a weird road game to a division rival Washington Commanders. I think Jaden Daniels will hopefully start to be kind of maturing into the, maybe give us an early glimpse at the quarterback we may see out of him in the future. Obviously, Aaron's really high on him, so I bet you he's got Jaden Daniels winning at least one of these 2 games against you all this year as well. No, really. Oh.
Maybe. We'll just have to wait and see.
I've got, after that, I've got you winning, picking up another win against the Giants, so you should sweep them on the year, before picking up another tough loss against a Cincinnati team that I think should be resurging from last year, with Joe Burrow coming back off of injury. And then I got you picking up a couple easy wins against Carolina, maybe a tougher win against Tampa Bay at home, but you have the home field advantage there, so I think that'll kind of give you a little bit of an advantage. Before losing on the road to Philadelphia, splitting the season series with them, winning the one at home, losing the one on the road, and then doing the same thing with Washington, splitting the series with them, losing the one on the road like you did earlier in the year, picking up a win here in Week 18 and finishing the season off 9-8. And I've got that being just good enough for the 7 seed in the NFC this year.
9-8 for the Cowboys?
9-8.
Wow. Not really expect that from you. I'm kind of on the same path. I've got them, 10 wins. A lot of contract disputes going on there with, Dak and CD, not to mention Big Mike McCarthy, also not signed after this year. So he could, end up on the hot seat if they do figure out maybe a short-term extension. Um, I'm not sure that they're necessarily convinced that he's the future. Obviously, if they haven't signed him yet. Um, and then the whole Dak and CD thing. If I was a Cowboys fan, I wouldn't be too happy with Jerry, if I'm being
Yeah.
honest.
Yeah.
I don't think he's got a very good track record of keeping players he should. Now Dak, that's kind of a different story from CD Lamb. A lot of arguments can be made about how good he actually is, and maybe they look for a cheaper option and have some faith in Trey Lance, who they traded for last year.
Yeah, last
was it
offseason.
2 years ago? Last offseason. So maybe they look to get him some playing time. But yeah, I've kind of got the Cowboys, probably top half of or top third of the NFC, 10 wins, probably a wild card playoff berth.
Yeah. I think the CD Lamb thing's weird. If I'm being honest, I don't really get that. Saying he's not a priority doesn't really make sense to me when he's. Maybe Micah Parsons? Is that who they're talking about? Or did they get a deal done with him yet? I don't think they did, right?
I don't think they've gotten a deal done with him.
Yeah, so maybe Jerry meant that Micah's their number one priority. Maybe he meant Dak's their number one priority. But your three best players all being in contract disputes to an extent right now.
And your head coach.
And your head coach, yeah. Not a great look. Losing any of the maybe losing Mike McCarthy, I don't think would be that big of a deal. But losing any of those three players, that could be big for the Cowboys. They don't really have many receiving threats out of CD right now. Micah Parsons is the only reason that defense is as good as it is, in my opinion, because the secondary gets a lot of interception or a lot of turnovers. Why do you think they get so many turnovers? Because the QB has to rush the pass a little bit more with Micah Parsons off the edge, all that. He just makes that whole defense that much better. And then, obviously, you got your franchise quarterback in Dak Prescott, who's already been through one contract dispute with you. Are you willing to go through another one with him in order to, maybe come out the other side of this one smelling like a rose? I don't know. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they do with all three of those players, all three of those contracts. I think it's going to be a little distracting for the Cowboys this year, as they always are a little distracted, but maybe even a little bit extra this time around. And now moving on to a team in the NFC East that hasn't had the best track record these last few years. They made the playoffs a couple seasons ago, I think, if I remember right, but lost in the first round pretty convincingly. Last year, Daniel Jones gets hurt, and after signing that massive contract, Daniel Jones gets hurt. And even before that, he didn't look like he deserved that contract, so that's a big question mark right now. Brought in his eventual successor in Drew Lock, so there's that to worry about. He's got to be looking around his shoulder the whole time, because there's a better quarterback backing him up. And drafted a rookie receiver, Malik Neighbors, who's already gotten hurt this year. Minor injury, sure, but already bad juju in the Giants locker room, I feel like. So, with that being said, I got you getting off to a really bad start. Like a really, really bad start. I got you starting off the season 0-8.
Oof.
Yeah.
Big oof.
Not great. Not great. Yeah, I think you miss out on a chance to get a couple wins there early, lose to Minnesota and Washington, before going on a stretch of, tough games. Cleveland, Dallas, Seattle, Cincinnati, Philadelphia, Pittsburgh. So yeah, if you don't win either of those first two games, I could see 0-8 being a reality. But then I do have you winning 2 straight. How about that? Beating Washington, beat Carolina, both at home. Heading into the bye, feeling probably pretty good, 2-0 in your last 2 games. But you don't win any more. finishing the season on a 7-game losing streaks, pretty much the same as how you started. Once again, kind of a victim of some tough games. Dallas again. I mean, obviously you got to play them twice. Tampa Bay, Baltimore, Atlanta, Indianapolis. Maybe by the time Anthony Richardson is locked in, and then Philadelphia to wrap up the year. You could win that New Orleans game mixed in, but those other 6 games are gonna be rough. So, unfortunately, New York, I've got y'all going 2-15 on the year. Hopefully looking to get maybe your new franchise quarterback, Shedeur Sanders, perhaps. I'm sure Dion would love for him to go to a market like New York, New Jersey. But yeah, not a
You won't let him go to a bum franchise like the Giants.
not a great season. Not a great season for the Giants.
Yeah, I've got the Giants at around 6 wins. Again, maybe an exciting offense that really the only thing they can do is throw the ball. And with Daniel Jones at quarterback, who knows what you're going to get from that? They've got some promising young receivers in Malik Neighbors and Jalen Hyatt, but I think they're probably going to be relying mainly on their defense to win games.
Yeah.
So I think they struggle. I don't think they struggle that bad, but I mean, obviously 6 wins is not where you want to be.
Yeah, I mean, I just see a lot of really good defenses that they're going to have to go up against, too. Yeah, Cleveland, obviously. Philadelphia's could be okay. Pittsburgh, for sure. New Orleans is, slightly above average. Baltimore's really good. Atlanta just added 2 new pieces this offseason. Bringing in safety Justin Simmons and trading for Matthew Judon, right? Matthew Judon from New England. So their defense could be better. Yeah, I mean, they got some tough games. So if that defense isn't able to hold, some of these offenses to less than 28 points, I don't see how they're going to win a whole lot of games, because I don't see that offense being very good with not much of a running game. Your best receiver's a rookie, and then I'm not super high on the rest of their guys. You like Jalen Hyatt? I don't know. I mean, he seems cool, I guess. Maybe it could be a victim of just not being able to get him the ball as consistently. But yeah, this Giants team, I don't think it's gonna be. I think they're gonna be one of the worst in the league, unfortunately for them. So.
And then they can go get their guy.
They can. After they just paid.
And hopefully they don't swing and miss like they did with Daniel Jones.
Yeah, they got to get off that guy. That contract is brutal right now. So, unless he proves us wrong this next year, and I used to be on the Daniel Jones bandwagon, don't get me wrong, but unless he proves that he's legit this season, I just don't see how he's going to be able to keep his job for the foreseeable future. Next, we got the Philadelphia Eagles. I was about to say reigning, defending NFC East champions, but that's not the case because Dallas won it last year. Philadelphia obviously made the Super Bowl a couple years ago, though, lost to the Chiefs.
Which means that the Eagles will win it this year.
That is true. It's back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. So it's the Eagles' year to win it, and that's what I got right here. But last season, Philadelphia, coming off of a Super Bowl appearance where they lost in dramatic fashion to the Kansas City Chiefs. Thought they could get back, maybe have a little bit of a rematch even, because the Chiefs inevitably ended up making it back to the Super Bowl. Looked like it was going right that way. The Eagles started off the season on fire. I think they were the last undefeated team in the league. Then their head of security gets banned on the sidelines. A lot of people say that fucked with the black magic that the Eagles were crafting with. And they proceeded to win, I believe, only one of their last 6 games or something like that. Had it limped into the playoffs. Absolutely limped to the playoffs. Just covered in their own blood and feces. And Tampa Bay they're used to that kind of shit. Literally used to that kind of shit because they're pirates. And they took the Eagles down. They took them to town, knocked them off, came into their house, or hosted them at their house. Sorry, forgot that the Eagles lost the division because of their absolute floundering towards the end of the year. And so Philadelphia comes to this year, and you know what they're trying to do, Aaron? They're trying to fix their mistakes. They're trying to correct the sins of the past. They brought in Saquon Barkley to hopefully help do that. And I got them starting off the year off 0-1. Losing to the Packers at home to start off the year. Maybe a little bit of a hangover from that brutal loss to the mighty Baker Mayfield in the playoffs. But yeah, after that, I don't have you losing a whole lot more. I've got you starting the season off 2-2. I'll be transparent. Losing to Green Bay, and then Tampa Bay coming. Tampa Bay hosting y'all again, and y'all maybe get Vietnam flashbacks or something, and lose to them for the second straight time. But I got you beating Atlanta and New Orleans in between that, heading to the bye 2-2. And then I only have you losing one more game the rest of the year, Philadelphia. I got you beating everybody but Dallas on the road. Beating Cleveland, beating Cincy, beating Jacksonville, beating Baltimore, beating the Rams on the road. I've got you having a great year. I've got you really turning it back around, saving Nick Sirianni's season because I think he is secretly on the hot seat, oddly enough. And I got you going 14-3, marching your way back into the playoffs. Somehow that's only good enough for a 3 seed in my universe, because there's 2 other 14-win teams in the NFC that have the tiebreakers over you. But yeah, I've got you. You finishing with a pretty damn good record, all things considered.
That's ridiculous. I'm sorry. 3 14-win teams, just absolutely nuts. But beside the point, I too have the Eagles up there with 13 wins, so not far off. But I don't think I have 2 other 13-win teams. So they made some of their improvements, specifically in the secondary in this off season. So I think they really look to improve some of their weakest points, and obviously they're going to be in contention for playoffs. And if having 13 wins is the 1 seed in the NFC, but if things don't go well, what do you think happens to Sirianni? Say they win, 9 games. You think they let Sirianni go?
I think if they go sub 500, they let Sirianni go. I don't know if 9. I don't know if 9 will do it, but I think 8 or less would. Yeah, because I think, if we're being honest, I don't know how many of the players like him. Like, sure, he's the guy that he's on your side, so you'll have his back because he's your brother, or I guess father. I don't know how that dynamic works. Maybe father, but
Coworker.
It's your guy, so you're gonna have his back. But I feel like behind closed doors, they kind of feel like he gets them into some shit that they don't want to get involved in. Like, he's got kind of a loud mouth, He's that guy that you take to the bar, and he's going to get into a bar fight, and you're going to have to, be a guy to step in when you had no business, you had no desire to get into a fight that night. Sirianni's going to be the one who gets you in that bar fight that you don't want any part of. So that's kind of the way I envision it. It's like, yeah, it's your boy, but man, he caused you a lot of shit. So I don't know. I like I said, sub 500, probably. If he's not gone, that seat is scalding hot. Jalen Hurts, I think, is kind of a made man. I don't see him, going down the Carson Wentz path by any means. So I think he'll be fine.
Picture this. They don't have the season they want.
Mm-hmm.
Sirianni out the door. Then who better to come and help bring this franchise to the promised land than good old Bill Belichick.
Oh my god.
Coming into a situation like that would just be absolutely disgusting, would it not?
Him and Philadelphia. Does he have the personality to coach Philadelphia, though? I feel like, yeah, they're very similar fans.
Absolutely. Him and Vrabel would be perfect in Philadelphia.
Yeah, the fans are very similar to Boston fans. So I think that would, they hate each other because they're so similar to each other, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
I know that because as a Celtics fan, that's all I see is them bitching the same exact type of way at each other, and it's hilarious. But yeah, no, I think that's interesting. That's something to look out for if Nick Sirianni's out the door. Is Bill Belichick going to set up shop down in Philadelphia? He's been entertaining on Pat McAfee's show recently too.
Yeah.
And finally, wrapping it up for the NFC East, we've got the Washington Commanders. Obviously, last year the Commanders had a bad season. They played poorly. And that awarded them the second overall pick, where they were able to scoop up Jaden Daniels, Heisman Trophy winner, and one of the older prospects amongst quarterbacks in the draft. I think the only one older than him was Bo Nix. He got taken in the first round at least. So
is Penix older than him?
Penix 2. Right? Penix 2, my bad. Penix 2. Yeah, Penix and Nix are the only two quarterbacks that were older than him. Because he, as well as those two, transferred from one school to another school during his time in college, going from Arizona State to the LSU Tigers.
Go Tigers.
Go Tigers. And I've got him having a rough rookie year, record-wise, but I think you will see a lot of individual growth throughout the season for him. I do expect a lot from him. I think he's going to be very talented in the NFL. But Rome wasn't built in a day, and this Commanders team was dog shit last year. So they've got a lot that they've got to do to turn this franchise around. A lot of turnover has went into this roster already. Brand new head coach as well. So keep in mind, this is kind of a first step kind of rebuilding season for this Washington team. I know they've kind of been rebuilding for the last 5 decades or whatever, but. Now's the real rebuild. So I got them starting off the year winning one of their first 6 games. So starting off the year 1-5, losing to Tampa Bay, beating
good
the
start
Giants.
to the rebuild.
Yeah. Rough start to the rebuild. But losing to Tampa Bay, beating the Giants, losing 4 straight to Cincinnati, Arizona, Cleveland, and Baltimore. So you got 3 games against the AFC North in those first 5 or 6 weeks. Not really fair. I'm sorry that Jaden Daniels has to start his career off that way. That fucking blows, because the dude's going to get the shit knocked out of him. Like he's going to take some hits in those 3 games specifically. But then after that, I got you picking up a win against Carolina before going on another 4-game losing streak. Chicago at the Giants, the other AFC North team in Pittsburgh, who could also beat the shit out of your quarterback. Philadelphia. So tough 4-game stretch right there that I just think, rookie quarterback, asking a lot for him to win those games. But again, hopefully we see some individual growth from him and some of those other young players throughout this portion of the year. I do have you picking up a nice little cheap win against the Cowboys at home. Splitting the season series with them. Jaden Daniels gets his first big win, I guess you could say, in the NFL, because previous to that, he'd only beaten the Giants and Panthers, who I think are going to be 2 of the worst teams in the league. So, but then I got you losing a tough one to Tennessee before going into the bye, and then coming out of that, winning one of your last 4 games. The first one at New Orleans, because they're the worst team. You got Philadelphia, Atlanta, and at Dallas to wrap up the year. So not favorable stretch of games right there by any means. I got you finished the season 4-13. So fairly similar to how you finished last year. A couple more wins. But tough start to Jaden Daniels' career. again, I hope we see a lot of individual growth out of him. This is just the first step in a rebuild for this franchise. I hope they can kind of, keep moving forward after this, pick up a player in the draft that maybe complements Jaden Daniels or beefs up that defensive side of the football even before going into next season. But I think it's safe to say the Commanders should probably already be looking at the draft.
Yeah, I've got the Commanders with 5 wins. It sucks because they could have a promising offense.
Yeah.
But they've got a lot of new faces on defense. Traded away a lot of players, lost
Basically
them in free agency in the offseason.
Whole new D.
So this could be a real rough season, and I hope it doesn't discourage Jaden Daniels, because kind of like you said, he's probably my favorite quarterback coming out of this draft. Maybe other than Michael Penix, but
we're not gonna see him for a while.
This had the potential to be a really exciting offense, but I don't necessarily know that you'll see all of the potential, probably because some O-line holes and some defensive deficiencies.
Ooh, nice.
Probably put them in some bad spots.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. I mean, you've got some really fun pieces there. Jaden Daniels, scary Terry McLaurin. You drafted Luke McCaffrey, who could be a fun little project. Brian Robinson Jr. out of the backfield, he's the one that got shot in the leg, right? He's a badass.
Yeah.
He's pretty cool. And then the other wide receiver, Jahan Dotson. So you got some fun pieces there on the offensive side of the football. You brought in Austin Eckler from the Chargers as well. So the offense could be really, really fun to watch. And honestly, I might tune into some Commanders games this year simply just to watch the offense. Like, fuck the defense. Let's see some fireworks, man. But yeah, I just don't think you got the complete team.
Name, though.
Yeah.
Gotta change the name.
Yeah, terrible name. Terrible name. Absolutely awful. Just something different. Anything but that. But here are our predictions for the NFC East. Both of us kind of see the Philadelphia Eagles running away with the division to an extent, with the Cowboys coming in second. And then the Giants and the Commanders can, bitch fight about who gets third and fourth. So
who gets the better draft pick?
Yeah, who gets the better draft pick, basically. So, yeah, I mean, neither of us super high on the Commanders and Giants. Both of us, Eagles should be very, very good. They've got a lot to prove this year, and it'll be interesting to see what Jalen Hurts. Obviously, they just paid their 2 number 1 receivers. So, yes, I said 2 number 1s because they've got 2 number 1s. So no drama from that side of the football, hopefully. The Eagles are going to be... I expect the Eagles to be nasty this year with the addition of Saquon Barkley as well. So, and the Cowboys, obviously, most people know, lost everybody and didn't sign anybody. So I don't expect them to be, any better. They might be the same at best, but I don't see them being better. So Eagles should run away with it. Cowboys comfortable too. The other 2 fighting it out for third. Got anything else about the NFC East? All right, well, in that case, I think that'll do it for this episode of the most unprofessional sports channel on YouTube, Swiftchair Sports. I've been your host, Zach Circleberg Merkel. Here's the coach today, Aaron. Say bye, Aaron.
Bye.
All right, please make sure to comment down below if you disagree with any of our opinions. And please make sure to comment down below if you agree with any of our opinions. It makes us feel really, really special. But, other than that, if you made it this far in the video, make sure to like and subscribe. Deuces, and have a good day.